Hello, I'm Jackson Banis, here for Channel 3 News. Tonight, what you don't know about the Common Core. How is it hurting your children? Are they actually getting a better education? Why is it put into place? And who's doing it? Also, we compare it to other countries and see if their ideas can help us here in the United States. First, let's get some of the facts straight. Why are our test scores so low? Turns out that a lot of our low test scores are due to poverty. When taking poverty-stricken students out of the study, it turns out that our scores are amongst the highest in the world, says Stephen Krashen. Poverty-stricken students do not have the resources of that of the other students. The main thing that they do not have is access to books. They don't have them at home, at school, or in their community. Their libraries aren't as well kept and don't get worked on very often. These areas help limit our youth's learning process. Now that we know why our scores... Hello, Sarah. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. What are your thoughts on Common Core as a whole?
As a whole, I think Common Core has a good idea behind it. However, I don't think it's implemented in the right way. The idea is to get students more college and career ready, and I understand why the importance behind that. However, I don't think it's being implemented in a proper way. As of right now, teachers are just expected to meet these high standards when students have not been scaffolded to those standards. So I don't think it's as effective as its intentions were.
Okay, thank you. How much do you think the general public knows about Common Core?
I honestly don't think a lot of the public knows about Common Core. I think they've heard teachers speak about it and public figures speak about the Common Core standards. However, I don't think a lot of people actually know why their teachers find it so strategic and so negative, having negative impacts on the students. So I don't think the public knows a lot about it, but I do think that they are backing up the teachers and the negative ideas behind it.
Okay. How do you think the government can implement Common Core better?
One way I think that Common Core can be implemented better would be to gradually implement it. As of right now, students going from, for example, from 4th to 5th grade are expected to meet standards that they have not been scaffolded to. I think a better way to implement the standards was to have current kindergartners start with the Common Core standards and have that be the first generation of students meeting those standards, so that way the first grade standards don't seem so exuberant because they have been scaffolded to that.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I also asked Paul Gianmarco for an interview. He is a math education major at SUNY Buffalo State and is very opinionated on the topic of Common Core learning. Paul, as an education major, what are your thoughts on Common Core?
As an education major, I'll tell you, I love the idea of every student across the whole country learning the same material at the same time, so the grade levels. But it reminds me of communism in a way. It sounds like a great idea on paper, but actually applying it either would take a lot of transition or it'll basically go to shit. As we both know as educators, it went right to shit. So, it should be repealed. My current thoughts on how to repeal it. Well, alright, so my expertise is in secondary mathematics, 7 to 12. I believe if we repeal the Common Core and go back to the standard math sequence that we did when we were in high school, pre-algebra 1, pre-algebra 2 was math 7, 8, integrated algebra, 9th grade, geometry hasn't really been changed, algebra 2, trigonometry, they're taking the trig unit out of algebra 2, and then 12th grade is a pre-calculus elective. But you'll learn more about those sequences, later on in your career when you do MBD 200. So I'll let you form your own opinion on those. But long story short, repeal it.
How much do you think the general public knows about Common Core?
I don't think the public knows as much as they should about the Common Core. However, as most of the public are non-educators, it's really good enough. When you think about, the test scores and what we as teachers are going to have to deal with on a daily basis, the fact that the public doesn't know how in-depth it is could be beneficial to us, because then we won't have to explain really why we do things. They just think that's how we'll run our classroom. But if you or anybody else really wants to learn more about the Common Core, good resources are corestandards.org, which has all the Common Core standards. And for the state, it is Engage New York, or engageny.org. It could help you understand the Common Core, but still, we need to get rid of it. And I have a feeling it's going to, be rid of it in a few years, because of all the shit people are getting for it now.
Piggybacking off of what Sarah Banas had to say, teaching these new learning styles can be hard for students who are told that what they've learned in school is wrong. Dewitz agrees in his article, saying that teaching for transfer is near impossible. Teachers are forced to make up new material, and students are told that what they've learned is wrong. Is this an education you want your children learning in? Now let's take a look of how European nations deal with the idea of education. They don't have Common Core, and their laws are very different from ours. Grek reports in his journal that several countries in Europe have a system of governing by inspection. In short form, this means that the government will implement new ideas and will evaluate them in short term. They have plans to fix what's not working. We don't have anything quite like this in the United States. So what can we do here in the United States? Mcshane states that the states of Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania have already gotten rid of their version of Common Core, but we haven't gotten rid of ours here in New York State. We need to have transitional periods, and testing needs to be done. Both of these steps are huge parts of why Common Core isn't working. If we take the ideas that have been presented here, we can live in a better society.